How is it possible to build a business that works without you? On today's edition of the Thrivetime Show, Clay is joined with three mystery guests, one from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and two from Florida, who have chosen to ask Clay a variety of questions about how to build a scalable business model that does not require them being present 100% of the time. How is it possible? You have to be a Harry Houdini to implement the magic of running a business that works without you. All this and more on today's edition of the Thrivetime Show.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrivetime Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go! Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Now, Thrive Nation, on today's show, we have a very exciting edition of the Thrivetime Show for you. You see, on today's show, we have 2 guests who have flown in from another state to be here, and I'm not going to tell you who they are. This is an anonymous show where they're in the studio, but no one knows who they are. So they can ask the really dirty, nitty-gritty, tough questions that people want to ask. And then we have another guest on the show who I'm not going to tell you who he is either. So you, sir, are guest A, you are guest B, and you are guest C. And we saved the best for last. That's why she's a C, okay? So here we go. So guest A, any question you want to ask about business, management, sales, marketing, accounting, anything you want to ask, legal, crazy stories, anything you want to ask, guest A, what question do you have, sir?
All right. Any question?
Any question you want. There's no out of bounds.
All right.
Nothing.
So, Clay, you've obviously built a lot of businesses.
Yep.
You've employed a lot of people.
True.
A lot of different personalities.
Yep.
Right? What is, let's see. I remember, I'll just take this back a little bit.
Sure.
Back whenever I was driving our service truck on the road, I'd listen to you on the radio.
Yeah.
And you'd mention about kind of some horror stories you had with some employees, right?
Sure.
But at the same time, it was kind of like therapy for me, right?
Yeah.
Because it let me know, hey, I was normal. Our business was normal. You know, there's some hard times you have to deal with.
Real quick,
employees.
you're saying you talking about some old school stories here. Let me get it ready.
Yes.
All right, so
Take us back.
we'll go to old school,
Uh-huh.
and I'm driving around. You're driving around. Our listeners
yeah.
are driving around. They're listening to the show, and you've heard me share some of the old school stories. Okay, continue.
Yeah,
Continue.
absolutely. So what are some of those, let's see, what are some challenges that you've had with dealing with employees, in the past? I mean, and how did you overcome those?
Well, just in general, this is the overall thing that I discovered that was just so hard for me. I grew up in a Christian home. I was not a Christian. But I think if you're a Christian, you have to believe fundamentally that people have the power to renew their mind. Right? I mean, we have to believe in that. So
Yep.
Kanye West, somebody said, Kanye West, he put out a Christian album. He's becoming a Christian. I don't believe it. This is what someone said to me. They said, I don't believe it. And I said, well, if you look up the Bible and you look at the 12 apostles, it wasn't like Jesus had like an unbelievable moral character filter process to find these dudes. I mean, this was like murderers, thieves, not great people. And to my knowledge, Kanye hasn't murdered anybody, so I think that it's possible. So I'll buy that stock over time. I want to see him consistently do it, but I do believe he could change. I've always been that person. I believe you can change. Then Dr. Zellner, who's kind of like business Darth Vader. He's kind of like my Darth Vader, and I'm like, hey, boss. And I was probably 24 at the time. And I said, hey, Z, how come I have such dramatic things happen to me in my businesses and you don't? And he goes, oh, you want to know the real thing? Do you want to hear this is a real question? And I said, yeah. And he says, takes off his mask and he says, here's the deal. People change seldom. And unless you're a life coach, don't coach lives. And I thought, this is the most negative man in the whole world. This man is absolutely. So I left feeling discouraged. I really did. I was like, this is terrible. And he said, so we met again. I come back a different angle. And this is a true story. I said, I heard what you said. I grew up as a Christian. I believe people can change. He goes, no, they can't. It's just exhausting. And you will spend all of your time changing people because you'd be a life coach. So unless you're a life coach, don't change people. But I want you to get out a hammer. And I'm like, a hammer? We're out at Ruby Tuesdays, a little restaurant. I'm like, a hammer? He goes, yeah, go get a hammer. And then you come back to my office. And then we're going to pull your junk out of your pants and put it on a desk, and we're going to smash it for over and over and over and over. And that's less painful than a life spent trying to change lives. And I'm going, okay, I don't want to do that. I don't like this game. And so once it occurred to me I can't change people, they have to change. And my job is to find happy people and teach them how to do a job. And then in my personal life, if I want to help people, then I can do that. But I can't, and he gave me so many different examples. But it's like if you have a fan who really loves the New England Patriots, and he says, I want to play. I want to be on your team. Please. I'm passionate. Come on, baby. And he's 285, 5'9", 47 years old. You shouldn't let him on the team just because he wants to. And in the event that you did work hard enough to help him lose all the weight and learn how to throw a football, it would be exhausting. So why do we do it for our businesses? It's the same thing. That was the hardest thing to recognize that most people will not change. And now at Elephant in the Room, people say, man, you have a great team. You guys, guest B, you went to the Elephant in the Room store today. You saw July downtown.
Yes,
Isn't she a nice lady?
Yeah, she was killing it. She was all over the place, but she had a smile on her face the whole time. She never lost focus of taking care of the customers that came in while she was talking to us and touring. I mean, she was just amazing.
And you met Nick today in the store, and you met Yvette, and you've been in the office all day. We have a lot of great people, do we not? They're nice people.
We were actually talking in between going from the office to the store. How long did it take for you to filter through the ones that didn't fit that? Obviously, they're not going to last. But
this is what's so cool. I sold the DJ business in 2007. And one of the rules, when you sell a business, they get to take your stuff usually. And the rule was I couldn't hire any of my guys. And they got to keep all the computers and all the stuff. But I realized I don't need the stuff or the computers or the guys because I know how to build it again. So I was able to build a brand new team that was better in 2 months for my new stuff I was doing. Just because I just hold the group interview. And find a good guy. This guy worked at Best Buy. And he came in, joined the team, and I taught him the moves and taught him videography and photography. He came in, did that, did the group interview, found another guy who I met at Taco Bueno. So his nickname was Bueno. And found a lady who used to work at the hotels that I used to DJ at. And she quit her job to come join us. And there we were doing our thing. And it's pretty easy but as long as you do the group interview, and you have zero tolerance for jackassery, it's awesome. But you saw me this morning, person B, but you saw me this morning. I had one lady who was moping. Remember me talking about that?
Yep.
I don't know if you remember, but I gave the manager, I said, this week, call her on it. Help her become unmopey by Friday. Or, do you remember what I said?
Yeah, or fire.
Yeah. So you got it's a 4-day therapy program. So get better or you're fired. And that's how you do it, But back in the day, I would have spent years with this person. Years.
Well, my son is a manager of one of our restaurants, and I was talking to him about it. I was like, in the 30 years I've been doing this, when you have that feeling that someone's gone the wrong way or they're not the right fit, it never, ever works.
It doesn't work. But the thing is, we want to fix the people. Now, let's look at the stats. There are 330 million Americans that we know about. 16 million, according to the SBA, Small Business Administration, say they're self-employed every year. But, Jared, you know the stats. According to Forbes, 9 out of 10 businesses fail.
Oh, yeah.
So that means, think about the statistical probability. 16 is about half of 32. Okay, 16. So 16 million is about 0.5%. It's like 5%. So there's 330 million Americans. 16 million is like 5%. 5%-ish of our population. If we had 33 million entrepreneurs, it would be 10%. So we've got about 5% of our people out there say they're self-employed. 9 out of every 10 fail. 9, which means you have a 0.5% chance of being a successful entrepreneur. Well, that's not encouraging at all. What that means is if you had a group of people in an audience of 670 people, and you said, could you please stand up if you are successful? Only one person could in every room of 670 people. 1 out of 670. So when most people give you advice, run. Just get out of there. Don't listen to it. So if your pastor, this is going to hit somebody hard. If your pastor gives you advice on how to manage, plug your ears unless he's successful. Seriously. Because I see people who own businesses going, well, my pastor, I see this all the time, Jerry. They say, my pastor told me that it's called the inverted pyramid, and a true leader serves. So you're at the bottom of the pyramid. Your people are at the top. And I'm like, that's so cool. That is so cool. Has your pastor ever made a profit? No. Has your pastor ever read the part of the Bible where it talks about Jesus flipping tables? And they go, what? And I go, Jesus was a table flipper. So if you open up your Bible, it's a book we could open up from time to time. It's a controversial book, I know, but Matthew chapter 21, verses 12 through 13 reads, I'll read from the Bible, the whole thing, I won't paraphrase. It says, Jesus entered into the temple courts and drove out all those who were buying and selling there. Okay, we got that. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. It is written, he said, my house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers. It sounds to me, I don't know, when was the last time you, guest A, when was the last time that you flipped a table in your office because people were not getting Google reviews or following the systems?
Oh, I haven't.
You've never flipped a
never
table?
Never been done. I've wanted to, but
Have I told you about the throwing water?
No,
I used to own a company called Epic Photography, and I looked at one of the teammates, and I said, today, I'm going to break things. Because we got to break the dysfunction loop here. And I've put up with it long enough, when you have partners, everyone wants, partners, they go to these churches and read these books, and they've all got ideas, and they're all wrong because only 1 out of 670 people was right. So they got ideas, and their ideas are like, well, if someone sends the wedding photos to the bride late, we shouldn't penalize them. Because I had a policy that if you sent the photos to the bride late, you lost like half your check. And it's like, we shouldn't do that because it's mean. And I'm going, I disagree, but since I own majority control and I'm trying to be nice, we'll try your method just to prove the futility of it. But then when people are upset and they're complaining, now I got to put out the complaints. I got to call the complaints. So I went to a meeting with Bottled Waters, and I can't remember the whole context, but basically for every wedding that was late, I threw the water as hard as possible against a sheetrock wall and broke it.
Oh, yeah.
And I just kept putting holes in the walls, and they're like, stop it. And I'm like, no. This is Jesus flips tables. I throw water. Let's do another one. Do we have any other late files? Like, we had one more. Boom. Do we have another one? Boom. And they're like, stop it. They're all getting all emotional because it's not normal to see a 28-year-old man throwing, bottled waters and breaking sheetrock. But I'm like, this is actually the damage I'm causing is less expensive than the refunds we're doing. We're doing $2,000 refunds. This is less expensive. It only cost me $2,000 to fix this whole wall. I get some satisfaction. So then I went up to the editors and I said, because the editors are all photographers, they're all artists. And I said, you guys have these cherished paintings and pictures up here? No, man, I just broken waters all morning, probably for 30 minutes straight. I said, now upstairs, we've got these things we value. We've got framed pictures of our family. We've got, where did this mug come from? Oh, this is a friend. My cousin got this from, they brought this back from Africa. This is from Europe. This is my dad's. This is my cousin's. I'm like, okay. Next week, anybody who has late wedding files, I'm going to break all your most important things because these are the bride's weddings. This is her big day. And if you mess it up, you ruined her day, so I'm going to ruin your day. So I told them, and I don't think they believed me. So the next day, this one young lady, I said, you remember how I said I'd break your things? And she says, yeah, but, I got late. And I said, okay, I'm a good guy. I won't break it this week. But next week, literally, I'm going to come in here, and it's going to be like a nuclear, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be like Chernobyl in the office. So she got her files late, and I just started breaking all of her prized possessions. And she started crying and screaming and yelling, and she left, and it fixed the problem. As I flipped the tables. Another example was back when I was running a photography business, you shouldn't you can't bring your smartphone to work for a lot of reasons, okay? You just can't. And there's a thing called AirDrop. And AirDrop, you can sync files from your iPhone to your computer. Kendall, you'll get a crack. You'll crack up about this. So this particular person, this woman, would always bring her phone up at work and say, "Oh, I need to airdrop this thing, and that's why I have it." I'm like, "No, you don't." Well, one day she accidentally airdropped nude photos of herself to our entire shared Dropbox. So all of the employees saw her on the editing coming through, and I'm like, "Whoa, Shunda," And it's those dramatic things though that cause people to stop doing it. Mm-hmm. So you have to be a table flipper. Another example, we had an employee about many years ago. I don't get myself in trouble. Wes always hates when I give you real answers. So years ago, so far ago, it's so long ago. But he ordered a prostitute from the workplace. So he went on to Craigslist and ordered a prostitute during the workday. And then he also ordered drugs and was trying to sell them to other employees. And so I, got the screenshots. And it's in my folder I call it the Sith folder, Kindle. If you ever want to look it up, SITH, you can find it. Don't look, but you could. But anyway, so in there, and I said, "Hey, everybody in our group meeting, somebody has been ordering a prostitute, and I guess that, you need a receipt. Because if you're making a purchase that large, you need a receipt. And I just want to know, who do I need to give the receipt to?" And there's like 50 people going. It'd be just like our team meeting today. And they're like, "Who is it?" Somebody used our internet connection to order a prostitute. And I just want to know, who needs the receipt? I don't know who it is. Why don't we check everyone's history? No, I've already done it. And this guy's super red-faced. I'm like, "Get out of here. Leave. You're fired." I made a huge deal about it. And then when he was walking out, I said, "Please take all your porn too, because it's a lot of it downloaded. So we've got it in a little folder for you. So take that too." Never saw him again. It fixed the problem. Mm-hmm. I've never had a problem with adult content in the office since then. I've never had a problem with the ordering the prostitutes. Never had a problem with people accidentally syncing their drive to things. But you've got to flip tables. You have to flip tables. Jesus didn't walk in and say, hey guys, is there any way you could stop? And I've been reading this book about inverted pyramids, and I'm a servant leader, so if you guys will just, do your best. I mean, Jesus didn't feel bad. Flipping it, I've never flipped tables. Could you imagine flipping tables?
No.
Those are big tables back in the day. Some speculate in the biblical times these were big tables. That's like flipping a dining room table. So the hardest thing for me was not being willing to flip tables, one, and then two, trying to life coach everybody. Those are my biggest issues. But now I'm known as a table flipper. People say, Kindle wasn't here when it happened, but I did I threw the brother printer as far as possible.
Oh, I heard about this.
So were you there then? You were there. You saw me throw we have proof. We have proof that I threw. What were you thinking at the time? Were you thinking, what was... Yeah, somebody refused to order toner. They said, I ordered it online. It's not here yet. Meanwhile, the office has no ability to print. So I said, you got to get ink tonight because we need it tomorrow. We're having like 3 people that can't print in the last hour of the day. I need it. So the next day, he doesn't do it. And he says, I was going to get it online. I just disagreed. We could save like $10. I'm like, so the whole team can't print? I'm like, so we're going to play a little game. And the game is called, now again, this isn't me acting irrationally. I have a plan. I told John I was going to do it. I said, we're going to play a game. It's going to be, does a printer bounce? It's a fun game. We're going to take a printer that's expensive and throw it. And he's like, you're crazy. You're crazy. I'm like, well, no, it's crazy that the productivity you've cost has cost me thousands. People can't print. And to save $10, I think we should make a printer bounce. So we throw it, and he's just, you're crazy. And solved the problem. He never came back. This is how it works. Flip some tables. What the, there you go. I think I have you. Did it bounce?
Did it bounce?
It did not bounce. Aww. It was just kind of a. But those are the kind of things you have to do. You got to A, hire great people. Don't be a life coach, and then B, occasionally flip tables. And I don't know. Have you ever watched an NFL sideline? Is Bill Belichick having a good time over there when guys don't follow the plays? Hey guys, is it possible you could try to do the plays better? That crap doesn't work. This is not church camp. This is not any kind of camp. This is called business. And business is more similar to war than it is to camp. It is not nearly as bad as the horrors of war, and I'd hate to compare it to that, but it is much more war-like than it is camp-like. And if you try to make a business some community camp thing, that does not work. And that is the another example. Are you familiar with the Patriots beat the Eagles yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you hear about what Bill Belichick said today?
No. What do you say?
Oh, my gosh. Last year, in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, they lost to the Eagles. And one of their star players on the Eagles came out and said that he is so glad that the Eagles won because he would hate to be on the Patriots because it's so boring. His name's Lane Johnson. And Lane's like, he's so mean on the Patriots. They run it like it's a prison camp, essentially. It's like everyone has to follow checklists and systems.
Oh, sounds horrible.
And so Bill Belichick did his interview last night, but Lane Johnson said it wouldn't be any fun to be on that team. You know, and he was just very critical about Bill Belichick. So this is what Bill Belichick said in the press conference yesterday. It's so great. Let me find Bill. Come on, Bill. Talk to us about it. So let me see. Bill Belichick. He's been sitting on this for 2 years. I love Bill. Bill and I don't let go of things. This is what Bill says during the interview.
Coach Belichick has some things to say.
Yeah.
In his
Subtle.
own way.
Interesting.
You know, he's always so dry.
Yes, very much so.
But we do read between the lines when he talks. You have to.
Okay.
I'd rather have fun and win a Super Bowl than be miserable and win 5 Super Bowls. That's what Lane Johnson said after the Eagles beat the Patriots in Super Bowl 52.
Because he's dumb.
Apparently, boring old Bill Belichick heard the word. The New England head coach dropped a subtle bomb on Lane after yesterday's 7-point win over the Birds.
Our defense played really well in the second half. I mean, the players, they covered well, they rushed well, they tackled well. They just did a good job. Looked like they were having a lot of fun out there today.
And he never, ever says we have fun. So, again, winning is fun. And now our office, you're seeing a team that's happy. We have great people up there. There's a good energy, and we're having a fun time. But in order to get to the fun time, we've got to fire some people. We've got to put some fear in there. We got to flip some tables. Now, once you're winning, it's fun. There's a momentum. There's good people. But no one wants to do that part. That's called the messy middle, and people don't like to talk about that. Now, guest B, I appreciate you traveling here, half of the United States away. What question, any question that you would like to ask at all?
Well, when you start out, you become the business. Everybody wants to talk to B from.
Oh yeah.
You know, they won't give an order. They won't take a catering. They known me since birth, and I just met him yesterday. How did you step away? I assume it was with the DJ connection. How do you keep control of a business?
I'll walk you through the steps, and this was not pretty. It's messy. It's called the messy middle. I mean, it's not pretty. It's what it is, messy middle. So step one, my wife and I agreed on my new calendar. That stuff. So you and guest C can talk about that. Because I have found that my wife is very good at designing life. I'm very good at making money. So she designed my schedule. That's like a Jesus take the wheel thing. That's like, because I'm never going to design a schedule that I mean, even when I compromise, it's still somehow 70 hours. I'm like, here's my new schedule. This is a really family-focused schedule. It's 80 hours a week. Trimming that down from 102. That's what I do, because that's me. I like working. So my wife's like, would you stop it? So my wife said this motivational phrase to me. She said, if you don't change your schedule, I'm leaving. And I'm like, like to the store? Because I'm a dense guy. To the store? That's cool. Could you pick me up something too, honey? I'm hungry. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like, I'm serious. This is what I was working, and she said it while I was working. I'm leaving. And I'm like, could you get me some? I mean, I remember I was like, could you get me something to eat? Which makes it worse. And she's like, no, seriously, I didn't marry you to make an income. And by the way, there's other attractive men out there who would be happy to marry me, who would be happy to spend time with me. But you, for some reason, have chased me around, brought me back to your castle, and then you locked me up there and you don't spend time with me. That's what you've done. And I'm like, those are fighting words. So I do what I do. I go to Atwood's, where they sell farm products. I go to Atwood's thinking about stuff like, I wonder what she meant by that. So I call her up, hey, when you said leaving, is that like a metaphor? She's like, no, like you and me no longer married. That's how it would be. But I don't need you to just earn an income, because there's other people that can do that. So I need a husband, like a boyfriend, like a father for our kids. That's what I thought we were getting. I don't remember dates consisting of me shadowing you working. So I need to go back to that a little bit. And I'm like, can we work in the middle somewhere? Can we come? So I came up with this new schedule. And it literally was me working like 84 hours a week as opposed to like 100. And she's like, this is not a schedule. Stop. So that happened. Then my son was born blind at the same time, which that's not the move. And my second kid, he's blind. So I go to Dr. Groves' office. God, Dr. Groves, if you're listening to Dr. Groves, I'm so sorry. Dr. Groves calls me. Boop, 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 boop. This is Clay, DJ Connection. Clay, Dr. Groves, I need to talk to you, son. Yeah, what's going on? He says, you need to come to these doctor's appointments with your wife. And I go, I can't. I'm working, do appointments. And he's like, yeah, I get it. Yeah. So here's the deal. Your son is blind. I never heard that before. And I'm going, what? He's like, he's never going to see. I've run all the tests. Like if you look at like Stevie Wonder, his eyes roll up in his head. He doesn't see light. There's nothing. No lights, no flashlights, nothing. Can't see. Doesn't even know if I'm in the room. I've walked in quietly. Doesn't know you're there. Nothing. So we're going to refer him to Dean McGee Eye Institute, which is Oklahoma's #1 a hospital, one of the top in the country. It's like the Mayo Clinic for eyes. So we go there. The doctor pulls me aside and says, "Your son is never going to see, like ever." So we have paperwork here you can fill out. We need to start school basically with babies to teach them how to get by without seeing. They need to learn compensatory skills so he can function. But you have a blind kid. And so I was going, what? No way. So I told Vanessa, I'm like, why don't we go on like a trip? Because my wife was praying for my kid, for Aubrey, and I banned her from praying because I'm just a great husband. So I said, you can't pray in this house. Stop it. You're making me crazy because I need to just embrace that he can't see. That way I can work. I can just live with that. I can move on. She's like, he will see. And I'm like, sure. Did Jesus tell you? She goes, yes. And I'm like, that's great. That's great because that's what I knew you would say. You're not only are you crazy, but you're pissing me off. And then so now it's not going well. Things are not going well at the Clark house. So we went to Florida, to Destin, Florida, and we went to Sam's Club to buy everything in bulk that we don't need. We go there, and I'm thinking maybe I can just eat trail mix for 2 weeks straight or a week straight and figure out my life. So we're driving down, and we get to the Sam's Club, and I see the book God in My Corner by George Foreman just sitting there. It's in here somewhere. It's there, and I'm going, babe, I need to buy that book. And she says, well, then get it. And I'm like, but I don't like the religious books. They're all stupid. And she says, well, then don't buy it. What's your deal? Because I was just in a bad mood for, like a year. So she says, just get the book. And I'm like, I don't want to. She said, well, stop talking about it. But I kept going to the checkout. And they're like, do you want anything else, sir? You wait in line forever at Sam's Club. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yes. And I sprint back. I grab the book. I said, please read this to me out loud while we drive. Because I don't talk. If we're on a road trip, I don't talk. I do not speak when I'm in a road trip, like at all. If we drive 12 hours or 4 hours, I don't speak because I have nothing to really talk about other than work because that's my thing. So she's reading this to me, and we get to like the part where George Foreman says his nephew was in a coma, and he was not a Christian. He said, God, if you're real, heal him. And if you do, I'll retire from boxing. And he said that he had that prayer, and then nothing. So he goes out to fight in the ring, and he says, George, you have a call. So it's in the dressing room. He takes a call on a landline. What is it? He says, he's out of a coma. We don't know what happened. This kid's been in a coma forever. He's out of a coma. And George said it was like Samson cutting his hair. He had no power at all, like just lost all. And he went out there to fight, and he said he just could not. He said he felt like he had like mono or something, and he just got destroyed. So he came back in, lost to someone he should have beat. Comes back into the locker room, and his agent was like, what was that? And he's like, I promised God I would become a pastor and quit boxing if he healed my nephew, and it happened, so I have to quit now. And he was like 31, I think 32. And so that's how so I was like, I don't believe this story, because that's how my mind works. So then I had to drive to Houston, and I met Roscoe, his trainer. And I met his son, Red, and I met his family. I'm like, here's the deal. My cousins live here. I'm here for Thanksgiving, about this time, this Thanksgiving. And my son was blind, and I was in Florida, and I was reading the book, and then I was highlighting the book Straight from the Gut by Jack Welch, and my son grabbed the highlighter and looked at me and smiled for the first time right after reading your dad's book. And I made like a promise that I would change my entire life if it happened. And so I need to meet your dad because I need to know if it happened. And so I met George Foreman, biggest hands in the whole world, strongest hands ever, like scary big hands. He's a pastor, by the way. He has a church down there. And he was doing a service, and it's probably 30 people in his service. And the way George does it, it's just for inner city people. And he walks around. Doesn't matter if you're the poorest person or the richest person. And he prays for you. And church goes as long as he needs to pray for everybody. And I'm there, and I'm like, he's like, I know, the white guy, so it's like, why is Casper here? You know, no one else is white there. And I said, hey, I am here. My son was once blind, now he can see. You know, and I had to know, did that actually happen for you? And he's like, yeah, that's why I'm a pastor. And I'm going, so why'd you box again? And he said, I was 38 or 39, and I was 350 pounds, and nobody comes back at the age of 38 in boxes. And God told me I should win a championship, but this time do it for him. And he's like, so I did it. So I just started running. I'm like, you lost 70 pounds? No, like 90 pounds at the age of 38. And I went back and won. But I couldn't do it at my own strength. It was all God this time. And I'm like, what? Shunda! This is great. And it was like an amazing thing for me right there, because I'm going, I listened to a lot of TD Jakes, but it was like I had TD Jakes in my head now. Like it was the craziest thing ever. So I then... I mean, this is how I felt. The moment it happened, this is kind of how I felt. If I could put a sound bite in my head, this is how my head sounded.
Shonda, you're getting ready to flow. I feel the glory of God.
So I, talked to a guy. We had Cox, Clear Channel. They all wanted to buy the DJ business from me. Everyone kept calling me about buying it. Had a guy who worked for me, and I said, "You want to buy it?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm out. So let's do it." So I sold it. And I didn't want to sell it, but I did sell it. And when I sold it, I had this thing where it's like you have to stay there for a year or two, some sort of purgatory. You can't compete with yourself, and you have to be there. So you're kind of, some people can relate to this. It's a little bit of the step-parent thing where you have no authority, but you have a kind of title. It's like a vice president, you know. So I'm up there, and people are like, we don't want to follow the scripts. And I'm like, well, you need to follow the scripts. And then the new owner's like, well, we don't have to follow the scripts. I'm like, okay, why did I just talk? I mean, it's just every day. It's like, okay, guys, we got a bunch of complaints this weekend. Well, we need to do merit-based pay. We need to pay people less if they do a bad job. New ownership. We don't want to pay people less. We want to make everyone get paid the same. We don't want to do a group interview. We want to do one-on-one interviews. We don't want to do a lot of changes. And new ownership wants to change. They took all the pictures down of like Jack Welch quotes and replaced them with like Chuck Norris jokes. And they took down like our war room area, and they put in like bean bags and video games. And I don't know. I think that if I had like a tip, like if I wrote a book on the 8 tips to be a jackass, that's what was happening in my opinion. It was like we have scooters in the office, bean bags, video games. It's just weird. And everything started late. It was just weird. And the new owner, to his credit, I think he's doing well now. People like him. It's great. But, I mean, I can't be in an office where guys are on scooters and bean bags and, messing around. I can't handle things being late. So, anyway, but I was there, and I just had to honor my shows, Dave. And then people would call, and they'd say, or person B, I'll edit that. But they would call me and say, could you do my wedding? And I would say, or could Clay do my wedding? And they said, nope, he can't. Why? Because there's new ownership involved, and he's no longer going to be doing it. And it never went over well. It never, ever, every time it was like, but he did my daughter's wedding. You know what I mean? And so for about a year and a half, almost 2 years, I somehow was in that purgatory where I couldn't like not be there, but I didn't own it anymore, but I got a big check, that kind of thing. Now though, so I was about 2 years of that process. But so if I was giving someone tips on how to do it, I would say, one, you just agree on a schedule with your wife that makes sense. That she likes, that you won't like, that she likes. You will not both like it. You will not. She will like it. Happy wife, happy life. But you will both not like it. It's not possible, in my opinion. That's why the man cave looks like this, and the rest of my house does not. So it's like two different worlds. Get the schedule that you agree to, and then I agree to as in like you just say yes. That's what you do. It's like, I'm going to talk it over with my wife. Okay, yes. That's what you say. Then you say, all right, now, no. And you just practice it. No. And you have 2 moves. You can do a direct no, like I'm not going to handle it anymore because I'm spending time with my wife. That doesn't go well either. Or you could say, I can't because we have a little bit new of an ownership situation now. And with my partners, which you have partners, with my partners, I'm no longer allowed to do that. And then they're like, but I know your partners. Well, it's just something we have partners. They don't know who your partners are. And we've just agreed I'm not going to handle. I'm going to handle more of the customer experience. That's how you do it. And then it's going to be weird. And then you get mystery shoppers in your stores. so that every day you get feedback from people who are customers about what you did well or not. You know, like today we showed up at the stores and we went in the bathrooms and they were clean, but they didn't know I was coming. But the mystery shoppers already texted me like, hey, clean bathroom, good job. Or, whoa, what is going on in there? You know, so that's how you do it. And then you just have to understand that you have a weekly meeting, a staff meeting to pump up your team. You need to be in charge of your group interviews so you don't have any idiots. And then you need to lead your daily huddles. And then you get your time back. And you can go lift weights and eat protein and BCAAs and kale and creatine and walk around the beach and pontificate about how great life is. Meanwhile, the one trade-off is I couldn't DJ anymore. And then the only person who really didn't respect my boundaries for this was Dr. Zellner and Dr. Joe Lai. Because I did Dr. Joe Lai's wedding, and now he's turning 40. And Dr. Z, because he helped me a lot, and I owe him. So I DJ'd for his daughter's wedding, Bridget. And everybody loved it and wanted me to DJ another wedding. And it led to like dozens of requests. But I said no to all of them. And all the people I said no to were upset. One lady said, I will change the day of my wedding for you to DJ. So we've committed to June whatever. I'll move it back 6 months. Just give me a date. And I'm like, never? And she's like, I don't understand. You did my sister's wedding. What's your deal? And that's how it was. But you just got to say no. You just practice it a lot. No. It's like you want to start with the na-na-na sound. It's kind of easier there. And you just practice it, and then eventually you get better at it. But it's probably going to take you 100 no's before you get used to it. Is that helpful at all?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then our final incredible guest here, we saved the best for last, contestant number C on the Thrivetime Show, the anonymous guest. What questions would you have for me? Anything at all?
Well, it sounds like I need to talk to Vanessa and get some of her helpful hints here.
That's right.
Totally need to do that.
She's the best.
So you talk about, doing the 100-hour work week.
Real quick about my wife. I'll just tell you this. I'm not just being disparaging. I fight with her like a samurai fights with Chuck Norris every 30 days. And it is crazy. Like, it's like, because the ninjas, there's like 75 of them, and they're making, like, make loud noises, like, and they got knives, and, and they're very, there's just a lot of that. You can picture all the ninja stuff going on, and you would think with that many ninjas that they could take out Chuck. You know what I mean? Because there's so many ninjas. I mean, it's like, how many more, you've seen the movies. I mean, how many more ninjas do we need? They all have, like, ammo they're wearing. They got M16s. They're fighting. There's a lot of noise. The kids are like, what is going on out there? And then it just happened. It just happened like as recently as this past weekend. It was like, hey, you need to go to the cheer thing in this city. And I'm going, why? Delegate, elevate. You can't delegate being a dad. And I'm going, well, I kind of want to. Like, I don't want to go to this thing and sit and wait and drive 4 hours. And she's like, well, you're going to. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go to Atwoods, and then, but I mean, I have just submitted my schedule to her because it's easier. It's a better thing, but forever I would not do that. And so every 30 days I get a little case of the case of the crazies, which I did yesterday. And she's just like, would you just go to bed? You just go to bed. Cause I get to a place where I'm like, because in business to win, you have to kind of fight, right? I mean, I don't attack her and call her personal names or anything, but I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. What in the world? I try all the moves. And if that doesn't work, I go with come on, baby. You know you don't hate me. Why do I have to go? I try all the different angles. I've tried getting flowers. I try bribery. I'm like, you can buy some new shoes. She's like, I can buy shoes whenever I want. I'm in charge of the bank accounts. I'm like, fine. It's like, you can decorate the new house. Like, I'm going to anyway. I'm like, okay. Things will not be good for you in the future. If you say, oh, they will be great for me. What about for you, though? And I'm like, I guess. Anyway, it's like a ninja. Anyway, so sorry about that. I just want you to know, people, that's the messy middle people don't want to talk about. And she flips the tables every 30 days, and I've been corrected as recently as last night. So I am now healed from my jackassery. Okay, so back to you. I'm sorry about that.
So my question is, we talk about working the 1,000,000-hour weeks and, eating the ramen.
Yeah, sure.
Drinking the cat pee,
drinking
on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you how long does it take to get from that part to getting to the time freedom?
Well, you're there.
We are?
Yeah. Well, because we just raised prices.
Yeah.
So we didn't feel like it, but we raised prices, and I did the math, and if I'm wrong, correct me, I think it's like $80,000 a year we just created, I think, through the price adjustments that was much needed because you hadn't raised prices in forever.
Right.
But I think we just created 80 there, okay? Then I think off of the alcohol, if we raise them 50 cents a piece or whatever, I think we've just raised another 15,000. So that's 100. So let's just say, I'm making up numbers. I have no idea, but I'm just saying, let's say you were paying yourself 30,000 a year or 35,000. You should have created that extra. And then each week when you do your date, aka your accounting date, you want to ask yourself, how can we reduce costs by 3%? And how can we make the experience better by 3%? So as an example, there's one restaurant I worked with back in the day. I still can't talk about it because I have an NDA. I help these people a lot. But I can just say they put in a big aquarium where you could see these exotic fish all swimming around. And they got rid of a lot of free crap they gave you. So they used to come to your table and you'd always have bread out. Like garlic knots were just there, like complimentary, that kind of thing. Or like free bread or free, you know what I'm saying? It's like a free, they just, like Olive Garden has free bread. They used to just give you free bread. And instead they put in these beautiful aquariums where you can see these beautiful fish. Right? So while you're waiting, you're seeing these cool fish. And then they would ask, hey, I know everyone's on a diet right now. Do you want bread? See a little phrase? Mm-hmm. Hey, I know everyone's on a diet right now. Do you want bread? That little phrase, see a phrase?
Yeah.
Hey, I know everyone's kind of going gluten-free here. Can you eat bread? And by doing that, they go, yeah, I am gluten intolerant, whatever. Okay, well, we have a gluten-free, let's say, pizza or a gluten-free menu or something for you. But it got them out of providing all that free, which, by the way, was like a crazy amount. We're talking like $25,000 a year kind of stuff. I mean, so when you think about it every week, how can we improve the experience and cut costs by 3%? You'll get there. But you're there, in my opinion. You just don't feel like it yet because we got the new suit. We haven't worn it very long. But you're there. I mean, you're going to see it in 4 months, stay the course, and you'll see that bank account get to where it needs to go financially. And then your second restaurant, that one cannot lose money. Mm-hmm. So the big rule is it can't lose money once it's open. It can break even, but it can't lose money. So we're going to, we want to do aggressive no-brainers, So I would do very aggressive, like, $3 first meal or whatever your costs are. Right. So your people get tipped well, but there's right away a big line. $3 first meal, first-time customers, $3 or something, just to get a big buzz going and just get it full right away. But don't sit there and get a few new customers every night for 10 years or 5 years. Just get that thing velocity, speed as fast as possible. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that helpful? And then the vacation thing, my wife just books them. So she's like, hey, we're going to.
You're killing me.
Give it up, Clay. Come on.
No, but she's like, we're gonna go on the cruise.
It's the ninja move.
Yeah, and and I love my kids. Let me tell you this: we have great memories. So I've come up with my new travel move. I was telling you about my new travel move. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this probably the last 5 years. I bring a backpack, the one that I used to start the DJ business. Small backpack, little Van Sport or something. I don't know, some brand. And then I got that, and I'll get my boxers. 4 pairs of boxers, 4 socks, 5 pairs of socks. Get my and one shorts, 2 pairs of those. Get my 4 undershirts, all rolled up in there, And I got my wallet, my book, and my little clipboard. That's it. And then I don't lose my luggage, which is always a big stressor for me when traveling. And then we always take the first flight out because all the flights are late, so I don't care. And then I, right away, like, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be flying to Florida. It's on the 5 a.m. flight here, folks. Thanks for joining us for the early bird flight, the red-eye flight to Florida. We'll be leaving here in just a few minutes, and the trail will be coming by in a minute for breakfast orders or for nuts. Thank you for flying with Southwest Airlines, that kind of thing, Mm-hmm. And right away, I'm like, boop, hit the button, boop. Yes, sir, how can I help you? I need a cranberry vodka. And she does, too. I get air sickness. I get sick. I'm very sick in the air. I get motion sickness. Mm-hmm. So I'll grab myself two adult beverages before 5 a.m. up there in the air, and I'm good. And once we land, I don't get motion sickness because motion sickness was a huge thing. I would just be nauseated. I've tried Dramamine, the thing you wear on your nothing seems to work. And then I just have no expectations of getting things done because you were born for productivity, which is how you are. That's why you like to get stuff done. So you view happiness based on what you got done that day. That's how you view it. I do too. And most people don't. And so you got to find that way. But really, if you think about it, if you go on one trip a month, that's the equivalency of you giving up 4 out of 30 days a month. Mm-hmm. So if there was a war, you would be winning 26-4 every month. You know what I'm saying? And so I think realistically, you've been she would still be losing. The score is still 26-4. So we want to get to a score where it's 15-15. Mm-hmm. and that's a good score. And I say 15 to 15, and really it's like 17 to 13 with my wife right now. And then she's really happy. And the more happy she is, the more happy I am. It's a great thing. But I have just found that and again, I only share with you these raw, rugged things I went through because I made a lot of bad decisions for a long time. I was definitely, as a husband, like a D, not even a D, I was an F for a long time. Like, I don't know. I think the only reason she stayed with me is because she remembers how we were when we were dating, and I could provide.
Stop looking over here.
But I think she wanted to stick with me because she knew what I could be and what I once was. It's like dating Darth Vader is how I would describe dating me after we were married. It's like, Dad, will you take off the mask and come join me? And he's Luke, join me. And I shout. He's like, Dad, take off the mask and quit running around with the cape. It's weird. Come on. And at the end, it was the third movie, where he takes his mask off and they become kumbaya buddies at the end. And then he can see a hologram of his dad. But it took him till his dad's death to see that, like, he doesn't have to run around trying to kill people. That's kind of how it was for me. It was like I almost got to the end. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's helpful. Is that helpful? Am I helping you?
No, it is. It is. It's just hard when you've come up so many years and you build this thing and you think you're doing it for those very reasons that you need to take the time off.
Yeah.
So you're doing it like, if I'm doing it, they don't have to.
Kanye West was talking about his new schedule balance, why he moved to Wyoming. And he's talking about how I always told people I'm building this business, I'm building this empire, I'm building this for my wife and kids. And then Kim pointed out, the people you never see are your wife and kids.
Mm-hmm.
So you must be building it for someone else because we never see you. And he was like, ooh, that's fighting words, Kim,
Yeah.
And but he had to get to that realization. We all do at some point. And just if you're a production-minded person, you're eventually going to have that thought. Cool?
Very.
You guys are great Americans. I appreciate you putting up with me. I'm going to do some show editing here with Kendall and contestant A. You're a beautiful man.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for that show referral, by the way. This guest today was awesome.
Absolutely.
Seriously, and this guy, Richie's his last name, James Ritchie. I can't wait to put this show out. Not a lot of people retire at the age of 35 and build 26 businesses before the age of 30. Age of 35. That guy, just mind-boggling. That was a great find right there. That's James Ritchie. If you're looking for the next show to watch, check out that show. And we like to end each and every show with a boom, so we're going to end the show with a boom. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom! Stop what you're doing and think about this for a second. What would happen if your company was suddenly able to generate exponentially more quality sales leads? That would be incredible. What would happen if your company came up at the top or near the top of the Google search engine results? Well, I would just feel overwhelmed with all that business. How many thousands of dollars in lost sales or millions of dollars in lost sales are you missing out on simply because your potential customers can't find you when they go online to search for the products and services that you offer? I refuse to think that thought because I don't want any more business. Unless you are a dirty communist that hates money, my new book, Search Engine Domination, will help you grow your business. In my new book, Search Engine Domination, we will teach you the specific steps that you need to take to dominate the search engine results. What do you mean by dominate? You see, in my new book, Search Engine Domination, we will teach you the specific steps that you need to take to dominate search engine results. Download your free ebook copy today at thebestseobook.com. I repeat, that's thebestseobook.com.
My name is Amy Baltimore, and I am a CPA in Covington, Tennessee. I've been working with the Thrive team now for about a year. One of the first things that they did was to update my website and my search engine optimization. I prior had a website, but I was not being found on Google, and all of my new business was coming through referrals from friends, family, etc. And right away, I started to see results. People were calling and coming in saying that they found me on Google. They just Googled CPA near me, and there I was at the top of the page. And so it's been a great help to my business.
Again, you can download your free ebook copy today at thebestseobook.com.
Hey, this is Dustin Huff. I'm with Keystone Harbor Marina. We joined Thrive back in January and have been working with these guys for about 7 months. During that time period, we have moved up our Google rank through reviews and SEO processes that we've compiled through these guys. Our leads have gone from about 4 a week to now 165 a week. So the process works. I will tell you from experience, once you begin, you have to stay with it. As long as you continually do this week in and week out, month in and month out, you'll continually grow.
The system works, but nothing works unless you do. You've got to take some action. Download the ebook for free today at thebestseobook.com.
Hello, my name is Daniel with Daniel's Heating and Air here in Amarillo, Texas. The way Google has affected my business, we have got a lot of calls from Google. Right now it's July, and we've had the best month ever. And it took us about 8 to 10 months to get on top of Google, and I'm glad we did.
Remember, nothing works unless you do. You have to go to thebestseobook.com today. Download the ebook for free. Just download that ebook for free, and you'll be off to the races.
Hi, my name is Christina Nemus. I'm the owner and operator of Angel's Touch Auto Body and Detailing in Bourne, Massachusetts. We have been working with Thrive and their coaching for, say, 8 to 9 months, and it took us about 6 months, 5 to 6 months to get on the top of Google, and with their help with the website and marketing, and the SEO and retargeting ads with Google, and it has been phenomenal. We just have light and day business coming in, phone calls coming in, walk-ins, referrals. It's just through the roof, and we couldn't be happier. At the moment, we are up 50% this year from the previous year, and not only is that part of our own hard work and diligence, but also with the help of Thrive and what they've done for us and getting us on the top of Google and, you know, all their knowledge and coaching. And yeah, so super grateful, super pumped to see what the future holds for all of us. Thank you.
This is your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. Proverbs 10:4. I'm here to tell you, you can do it if you can just motivate yourself. 12 the masses had to cut off a few, so on the daily you and I could rendezvous. A misshapen tree that I had to prune. I had to make cuts to be here daily at noon. So like a tidal wave, a knowledge monsoon, I could rain on the parades of those who doubt in you. Are you the next Rockefeller or the next guru, or the next Dr. King who's changing the rules? Walls are in your way, will you run right through? Like a running back, force the one, it's up to you. I remember my days back in the dorm room, tuned to the gloom like the temple of doom, overwhelmed with the doubts that try to consume my hope for the future that I could pursue. But from the mountaintop now I can conclude that you have what it takes if you want the view to.
This is your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time. It's your year to thrive. Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
This moment is profound, cause you're above the ground. Your road might have been rough, but what you got now is now. We're here to pick you up and to even show you how, but you gotta be resourceful with that old plow. Started from the bottom, but I worked my way up, cause by 4 a.m. I've always been prayed up. Rise and grind as your time, don't dare let up. You gotta get it, don't quit it till your seeds grow up.
This is your year to thrive.
Come on.
Success you will find.
Yes.
Today is your day.
Somebody say,
and now is your time.
It's your time.
It's your year to thrive.
Come on.
Success you will find. Today is your day, and now is your time.
It's your time. We all have a wish and we all want to win, but we cannot begin without self-discipline. If you fall on your face, get yourself up again. Attach yourself to goals, not fail with the friends. When the storm's getting rough and they scatter and leave, you only be there with yourself and what you believe. We believe in you, but not as much as God does. If you're going through hell, He's got nothing but love. Apply what you learn, increase what you earn, and in due time time,
you got money to burn. Apply what you've learned, increase what you've earned, and in due time you got money to burn.
Sing it.
Apply what you've learned, increase what you've earned, in due time you got money to burn.
Sing it.
Apply what you've learned,
Sing it.
increase what you've earned.
Yes.
In due time you got money to
With this lyrical miracle, I look to shout down the doubters, kill the weeds that be killing your dream flowers, empower you to devour all the obstacles that make your sweet dreams sour. As for me, I used to stutter, but now I'm on the microphone smooth like butter. If I can do it, I know you can too, but you must stick to it like postage do. And while Merton's on the chorus, singing what he sings, I encourage you to dream big dreams.
Today is your day.
Today's your day.
And now is your time.
It's your time.
This is your year to thrive.
Sing it, sing it.
Success you will find. Today is your day.
It's your day.
And now is your time.
It's your time.
Today is your day.
Come on.
And now is your time.
Sing it, Martin.
Today is your day. Now is your time.
I realize I can't sing like that, but I can talk and play the woodblock. Okay. If you guys need me, I'll just be over here.